Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pi for those that don't know. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. If at any point in this video you like the video, make sure you like the video. Please like the video. That helps push the video out into the algorithm. So, and it's just a free way to support me. So if you could, do me one solid and like the video, please. Um, Also leave some comments down below. We love comments. We like to talk. Trader talk. Let's get into it. That's what we're here today to talk about. The Traitors, season 2, UK, episode 8. Really good episode. These episodes are getting better and better as they go. So the last episode ended with the Traitors in the turret, and they are trying to decide, are we going to seduce a faithful, because it's only 2 Traitors now. So are we going to seduce a faithful to come murder people with us, or are we going to just go on a murdering spree? So we saw they decided to recruit somebody. We find out this episode that person is Andrew. Now Andrew is perplexed because he doesn't want to become a traitor and now have to kill off all his faithful friends and just go against everything that he stood for in the game, because he's been a faithful the whole game. Or if I don't become a faithful, then a traitor, they're going to probably try to murder me. So I don't know what to do. We see Paul, and he's worried that is Andrew even going to trust me, because he's seen how I handle things with Ash. He's seen firsthand how I got rid of Miles. Like, is he going to trust me? So that's one of Paul's fears. And we all know that they chose Andrew because they wanted him kind of like to be a shield, because he already has a little suspicion on him. So they can just push him on out there like they did Miles, and boom, we fed them a traitor. It gets them off of our back. We live to see another day. So we see Andrew take them up on their offer. He meets Claudia, gets his cloak, takes the traitor oath, and then he goes into the turret to meet them. So he walks in. Of course, they have their hoods down. They have their heads down. And he puts his up first, and he's just sitting there waiting, and they take theirs off, and he's just looking like, oh my God. I literally thought Jazz was going to be in here. I cannot believe you two are traitors. Like, you guys are like doing so freaking good. And I was defending you, Paul. Like, you had me fooled. So he can't believe it. But that was short lived, because he immediately goes into like, you guys just brought me up here to like be the scapegoat. Like, you're gonna get rid of me at any chance. And Paul's like, no, we're not. We're not. Trust me. Trust me. Like, trust you? Why would I trust you? Out of all people, you want me to trust you? I think not. So Paul is like steady trying to convince this man, I only did what I did because Miles had dirt on him. And when we were down in the dungeon, because remember, Andrew was down in the dungeon with Ash, Meg, and Paul. And so he was like, Ash just was not being a good traitor when she was down there in that dungeon. Like, you saw firsthand. There was no other way around it. Like, she had to go. She wasn't being a good traitor. And so Andrew is like, he listening, but in the back of his mind, he's like, I can't trust this man. I ain't going to be able to trust this man. So I think Andrew is a little worried, which he should be, because Paul is no one to be messed with. We have seen, and I have said over and over again, how good of a traitor Paul has been throughout this whole season. So we have our new traitor, Andrew, and I believe that they don't murder tonight because he was recruited. Also, I forgot to mention that Harry, I believe he said in his confessional, I think we may have made a mistake. And I have to agree. Andrew is not thrilled at all. And can you really blame him coming in this late in the game when you know you have heat on you, when you've seen how some of these traitors are moving? Because right now, Harry hasn't really done anything. So it's just Paul for him to be worried about. So it's like, I'm not really worried about Harry, but Paul, you got me like on pins and needles. So I can totally understand why Andrew is hesitant about being one and like kind of have to watch his back because Paul is a scandalous traitor just doing his job. So they make it to breakfast and it is time for everybody to learn that no one was murdered last night. Surprisingly, Harry and Paul are the first in, and they're trying to decide where they're going to sit. They're like, let's just sit down here towards the end of the table, like in the middle, so we can see everybody's reaction. And they're just chit-chatting briefly about Andrew. They're just saying like, I don't think he took it well, but we're going to see how this goes. So Evie, Jazz, and Jasmine are the next to come in. They greet everyone. They're sitting down talking. And of course, Jazz is just like, I still feel like it's Paul, and I cannot believe that Miles left. He's still in shock, and he is still on this Paul kick. He is not letting up. So next, Molly, Andrew, Zach, and Charlie walk in, and it's Andrew's first breakfast. So we see him in his confessional say, like, it's kind of weird just having to switch gears, knowing what's going to happen, but having to act a certain way, still try to be a faithful. Like, it's just a weird feeling, and he hasn't transitioned, I would say, into that role just yet because it just happened last night. So Andrew is kind of what's the word? Andrew is kind of spooked right now a little bit. So the last two to come in is Charlotte and Ross. And once they come in, it's like, wait, whoa, everybody is here. There was not a murder last night. Someone must have been recruited. So we see Charlie ask Andrew, what would you do if you were recruited? And Andrew's like, wait, well, huh? What'd you say? You heard that lady. You exactly what you thought you heard. That's what you heard. And she repeats herself, like, what would you do if you were recruited? And he was like, I'm really like a protector person, security type of guy. Like, that goes against my moral compass. There is no way that I could be a traitor. When I tell y'all, Andrew had the perfect answer. I don't know if he practiced that all night long, but he had the perfect answer. And it was so believable. I was like, oh, I believe him. Even though I know he's a traitor, I'm like, yeah, he would never be a traitor. I believe everything he's saying right now. It's so believable. So we see Claudia walk in, and of course, she lets them know nothing. She tells them, everybody is here. You guys realize that, right? Well, you'll figure out why later. See you at the next mission. Very brief, in and out. So we see Harry, Ross, and Paul walk outside, and Paul is like trying to play this whole he's worried they're coming for him type role. We know Paul is definitely going to be nominated for an Academy Award because Paul is a great actor. And Ross is like, yeah, there's no way Paul is a traitor. He got Miles out. I believe 100% that Paul is faithful. There's no way he's a traitor. So the camera pans over to Zach and Jazz in the house and in the castle, and they are talking about how they are more than certain that it's Paul. Like, there's no way that it's not Paul. They're not letting up on Paul. It is Paul 100%. And Jazz, or was it Zach? One of them was like, don't you think that there was two traitors going after each other last night? So basically that little seed that Harry planted, that's what they're on now, which kind of makes sense. So they both are like gun-ho on Paul. Because Jazz is like, I mean, Miles voted for him. Why would he do that? So now we see Charlie and Evie, and they're talking about who could be the new traitor, who could be the person that was recruited. And they're saying, it would make perfect sense to get someone who has suspicion on them. It makes sense to me. And they mention how Charlotte was sticking up for Miles. So now Charlotte is looking like, were you sticking up for Miles because you're a traitor as well? But I feel like if somebody is a traitor and another traitor is going down, that person's not really going to stick their neck out for them because of that reason right there. People are going to think, are you sticking up for that person because you're a traitor too? Something is off here. Like, I think it might be you, and you're trying to stick up for your fellow traitor. So I don't agree with that theory, but I mean, it could possibly work. But in this case, no. So we see Molly, Ross, and Zach talking, and Molly says she thinks it's Paul. She's still stuck on Paul. Jasmine jumps in and she says that she thinks that it's probably Zach. And Jazz is giving her traitor vibes as well. So she has her suspicions on those two. So outside, Charlotte, Harry, and Paul are talking, and Paul's like, you know what? Zach could actually be the mastermind behind it all. And who just so happens to walk up? Zach. But when he walks up, he decides that he's going to accuse Charlotte of being recruited. Charlotte's like, that is so stupid. I was not recruited. They go back and forth, blah, 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 blah. I feel like every time Zach comes for somebody, it's always like this big battle. He's had it with Paul, he's had it with Anthony, now with Zach. I'm surprised Zach is still here. Who is surprised that Zach is still here? Please drop down in the comments right now and let me know. Are you still surprised that Zach has not either A, been banished, or B, been murdered? I am shocked. But he is a good shield. So I get why he hasn't been murdered. So now it's time for them to head to the mission, and they go to a church. And everybody has their name on a stained glass mirror picture type thing, and they're going to take a crossbow and they're going to shoot at that name. Whoever name is left standing wins a shield for this for tonight. So Claudia tells them that I'm going to give you 7,000 pounds to start with. For every name that you hit and you miss, I'm going to deduct 100 pounds. I'm like, Lord, I hope they got some good shooters. Has anybody taken crossbowing or whatever you want to call it as a sport? Anybody do this as a what's the word? As a pastime? Is this anyone's favorite pastime? Because that's a lot of money. And I've seen on other Traitor seasons where they were shooting for a while. So, good luck. So, Zach nominates himself to go first. He says, I used to shoot a crossbow with my dad all the time. I'm confident that I'm going to knock this out first round. And we all know exactly who he's going to go for. He went for Paul, and he missed. So next up we see Harry, and Harry just decides, I'm going to pick Jasmine. Jasmine has had several shields in the past. Let's let somebody else have a try. So he goes for Jasmine, and he hits Jasmine's shield. So she is the first one out of there. No shield for you, boo. So Andrew is next, and he decides, let me go for Harry. Harry has had several shields. Let's give someone else a try. So he goes for Harry's name, and he hits Ross. And Ross is like, are you freaking kidding me? Oh no. Ross is like, it's you next. I'm coming for you. So for some particular reason, everybody starts to go for Harry. And Claudia asked Harry, like, do you feel weird, like you're being targeted? And he was like, yeah, I kind of feel like they're coming for me. I feel like he was being funny. Of course, we know Harry is a traitor. It doesn't matter if he has a shield or not. Of course, he has to play like he's a faithful. But I'm just like, he's just playing along, right? So next is Ross. And he goes for, of course, Andrew, which he misses. At this time, they have lost, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds. And Paul is like, you know what? I have definitely got this thing figured out. What we need to do is we need to aim at one target, If we miss, we see where that arrow go, and then you determine if you need to go up, down, side, to the left a little bit, to the right a little bit, instead of just moving it completely just all the way around. And when he says this, everybody just starts getting people out back to back to back to back to back until it's down to the last two names, which is Molly and Charlie. And Claudia, for some reason, wants to ask both of them, how badly do they want it? I think they want it pretty badly. It's the only way to not be murdered, Claudia. Like, what kind of question? Like, this is a rhetorical question right now. We both want the shield. So Evie is the lucky person to go up and hit Charlie's shield, which gives Charlie's name on the stained glass, which gives Molly the shield, so she is safe for the night. And she's like, a little teary-eyed or whatever. Girl, you better stop crying, child. You safe. She'll be okay. So they're headed back to the castle, and in one car, they are talking about Harry, and in the other car, they're talking about Paul. So in the car where Paul is, Jasmine asks, how do y'all feel about Harry, making that comment about being targeted? And they were like, I feel like he was just kind of like talking or whatever and like not really making a big deal. But Paul decides that he wants to put in his little 2 cents. I mean, yeah, like, because like, what was the reason for him saying that? Like, everybody's worried. Everybody's a target. Everybody's worried about being murdered. I'm like, Paul, shut up. Just shut up. Don't be coming for Harry. Harry, that's my boo. That's my favorite traitor. Leave him alone. So they're back in the castle, and we see Paul and Zach are talking in the hallway, and Zach is just like, look, it's you tonight. You're up. And Paul is like, why, mate? And Harry's like, not Harry. Did I say Paul? Or did I say Harry? Zach. Zach is just like, I just can't get over it. Like, why would they pick you to be free and murder Meg? Like, it just does not sit well with me. And Paul's like trying to convince him, like, you're steady, like, gunning at me and you're looking in the wrong place. He's even in his confessional saying how Zach is just doing the most. I'm like, you really truly think that you're not a traitor? He's not doing too much, really, in all actuality, because you are a traitor and he is correct. He just doesn't have enough people to back him right now. But it's just so funny how I think Paul has really convinced himself that he is a faithful, and probably why he's been doing so well. So Charlotte asks Evie, who are you going to vote for tonight? And Evie says Paul. Again, she's talking about the whole Dungeon Gate. We're back at Dungeon Gate. However, I feel like Paul's name has been brought up quite a bit today, and quite a bit of people are stuck on Dungeon Gate. But this is where it gets really interesting, because Charlotte then says, I really thought Paul was a faithful, but something happened today and it kind of got me wondering. Harry, it's when he asked me, how did I feel about your reaction today? And Harry is like, what? You said Paul was talking about me? Somebody said that you was talking about me. Here I go, Paul. Harry's like, wait, what? Harry is like, wait, Paul was talking about me, asking about me? And we see Harry in his confessional saying, oh my God, you have got to be kidding me. I know Paul is not trying to come for me. But if you want to go there, we can go there. Because Paul thinks that he has this game wrapped around his pretty little finger. But you're mistaken if you think you about to get me out the game. And the crazy part is, Harry's actually right, because Paul is underestimating him. He's not even thinking about Harry coming for him at all. He thinks that he's the only person who can throw the rock and hide his hand. So Harry's like, game on. Now, Andrew just so happens to be sitting there witnessing everything that's happening right now. And we see Andrew in his confessional talking about, wow, he's just going to throw Paul under the bus. Because he told Charlotte when she said that, he was like, are you serious right now? And he starts explaining different situations that would make Paul seem like he's a traitor. of course he knows all of these things because he's a traitor himself. And so Andrew is like, wow, he's throwing Paul underneath the bus. And I'm like, did you not just hear this girl tell him that Paul is coming for him? He wasn't coming for Paul. Paul started this. So Harry said, I'm going to finish it. Don't come for me. So it is time to go into the round table. Claudia walks in and she lets them know that the prize pot is at 60,150 pounds. And tonight we're going to do things a little differently. I want everybody to repeat after me. I want you to say, I am a faithful. So everybody says that they're faithful, right? And Claudia says, but you know what? Everyone isn't. Someone is lying. But who? So Charlie starts talking, and I couldn't tell y'all what the hell she said. Because Charlie, you aren't in danger, girl. In my Whoopi Goldberg voice. You're not in danger. I need you to go ahead and sit this one out. No one's coming for you. No one's looking at you. We got bigger fish to fry in here tonight. Okay? With the names of Paul on it. Not you. So, sit back. We're going to get to you. So then Charlotte starts to speak and she says, you know what? I have been thinking, I have a big mouth. I have a big personality. I'm vocal, right? Why would I still be here? And it dawned on me that there's really only one reason why I would still be here is because someone must be protecting me. And Paul, I think that someone is you. And I said, oh God, let's go. This is the beginning of the end for our dear friend Paul. Who do y'all think is going to be banished tonight? Before we get into it all, who did y'all think at this very moment was going to be banished? I personally thought it was going to be Paul. Usually I say it earlier in my review. I didn't say it today. I usually say, you know, how, because you can kind of tell how they set these episodes up. Sometimes they will throw a monkey wrench, but you can kind of tell. And they did that with this episode as well. So I felt like it was Paul. I really did. And when Charlotte hit that opening, not only I, me, she, her, pie was like, oh girl, that was a great segue for Harry. Harry was like, oh yeah, this sets me up perfectly to murder your ass. Because Harry was like, you know what, Paul, I heard today that you brought my name up in the car and you were worried about my reaction to my answer to Claudia's question when she asked me about how do I feel that everybody's all of a sudden, you know, trying to get my name out. And Paul's like, wait, he has his hand on his head like this. He's like, I know you're not doing this to me. I know you're not doing this to me. I just know it. And he's just like, huh? But he's not saying anything. He's letting Harry talk. And Harry is laying it out. And so Ross tries to jump in and rebut. And it's like, oh no, we shut that conversation down. And Paul's like, yeah, like, no, I would never do that. I was just, you know, it was just like a basic question. Someone brought the question up. I think it was Jasmine brought the question up. And, you know, I just said that you were worried about people coming for you, and we all are. And Harry's like, oh, okay. So once Harry had laid it out, it was over for Paul. He laid out the dungeon. You put yourself down there in the dungeon because you probably thought, because you were voted most popular, that you were going to be saved, but you weren't saved. Andrew was saved. And so when Andrew was saved, that threw your whole little plan off. And Paul's just like, no, this can't be happening. This cannot be happening. And we see Paul in his confessional, and he's like, Harry definitely caught me off guard tonight. I feel like he has taken a page out of my book, and I don't even know how to react or respond. Harry says, you always, when people come at you at the round table, you like to cut them off. You don't like to let them get their point out. He ran this stuff down on Paul like Eminem did Papa Duck in what was it, 8 Mile? He ran it down so good that Paul couldn't even respond. He choked like Papa Duck did on 8 Mile when Eminem ran it. Everybody in the 313, put your hands up and follow me. Y'all remember that? He ran that thing down. He said, I already know everything you about to say against me. I love that movie. But anyway, Paul, it's over for you, boo. Because now Jazz decides that he wants to hop in on the Paul train and say how he's never lost his suspicion of Paul. He's always had the suspicion of Paul, even before the dungeon. The dungeon was just like the cherry on top for Jazz. And we know Zach, he had to come in, and Molly decided to come in as well. She said she couldn't get over the dungeon as well. Zach says, I've been had suspicion on you as well. It's over, Paul. It's just so long, farewell, I'll be to say goodbye. Goodbye, Paul. So it is time to vote, and of course, everybody votes Paul. With the way that Harry ran everything down, anybody at that table would have been a fool to vote for anybody else but Paul. But of course, we had Ross, because Ross thought that Paul, or thinks that Paul is 100% faithful. Andrew and Paul. So they all three voted for Jazz. And Paul, you have received the most votes, is what Claudia says. Before you leave my castle forever, please tell us, are you a traitor or a faithful? So Paul is standing in the circle of truth, and he says, this is a wonderful game. This is something I will never forget for my whole life. I'm a traitor. And he bows, and everybody's like, yes, I told you. I told you. And they're hugging Harry. You did that. Jasmine and jumped up. You did that. You did that. When I tell you, I love this reaction. Chairs are flying. Zach is hugging Harry and kissing him on his cheek. Everybody is like, and Ross is like, what? Because now he's in trouble because you were going to bat for him. Now everybody is going to be looking at you tomorrow night. You're up next, baby. I don't know how you would come out of this one. And so Paul gets his bow, he leaves, and everybody is just like, wow, we need a drink right now. So they're off to go make themselves a drink. But before they fix that drink, we see Paul in his confessional. He says, the Harry takedown was perfection. He literally took a page out of my book. It was phenomenal. Like, fair play. Fair play, mate. Fair play. Y'all, listen, before I move on, Harry is always super nervous at the round table. He's always shaking. Am I the only one that sees this? I always wonder, no one ever calls him out. I don't know if they cut this part out, if this is editing, but no one never calls him out or says anything about how nervous he is at the round table. And he's always shaking when they're getting ready to say, I am a traitor, like he doesn't know what the answer is going to be. I guess that's his way of being like a faithful, but I feel like it's a little bit too performative. So anyway, they go get a drink, and this is 2 nights in a row that they have had traitors. They found traitors. So everybody's making their drink and they're toasting Harry for president. And Harry's like, no. Don't put me on that pedestal. Like, I don't need everybody, all eyes on me. No. And Andrew is like, I got my eye on you. So we see Harry and Andrew cross paths in the hallway, and they chat real quickly. And for some reason, Andrew thinks that Jazz is coming for him. Did I miss something? Y'all drop down in the comments and tell me if I missed something. But he thinks that Jazz is coming for him. And I'm confused on why. And Harry's like, no, they're not coming for you. They're going to be coming for Ross. So the clock chimes, and it is murdering time. Everybody leaves. The traitors are in the turret. And it is time for Andrew and Harry to face each other and chat about what just happened. Harry goes into the whole reason why, we just had to get rid of Paul. Like, it was time for him to go. There was too much heat on him. Not to mention, he threw me under the bus. He came for me. So it was over for him, period. And so he's like, so do you want to recruit somebody else? We get the chance to recruit somebody else. It's only two of us here, or we can just murder. And Andrew's like, no, baby, just murder, child. Because, whoo, this is day one on the job, baby, and this is just too much for me. Let's just keep it simple and just murder people. So they decide who they're going to murder. They're thinking about Charlotte, of course, like she said earlier. She has a big personality, big mouth. They're thinking about getting rid of her. But I'm like, she'll banish herself. She'll end up getting herself banished anyway, so why get rid of her? Jazz is an option. So they also talk about murdering Ross and Charlie. And Andrew is like, but why would we murder Charlie? Like, she hasn't done anything. And Harry's like, yeah, that's the whole point. Like, she's never going to get banished. Like, what are you saying? Yeah, that's somebody that we needed to get out of here. So, in my opinion, I feel like the smart person to get rid of at this moment, out of those people that they just named, would be Jazz. Because Jazz is the smartest and the sneakiest. Because Jazz keeps things to himself and he doesn't let everybody know what he's thinking until it's the right time. He's very strategic. And of course, actually Harry does know the little piece of information. Does he know? No, I don't think he ever told him. Actually, he doesn't know. But Harry knows that he told Jazz, he told Paul what Jazz said. So for me, that would kind of like be in the back of my mind or whatever. I feel like Ross, Charlotte, and who was the other person? Ross and Charlotte. Yeah, Ross and Charlotte. They'll get banished. Like, they'll get banished. You don't even have to worry about murdering them. They're gonna get banished. They're good shields because people are gonna be looking at them, right? So I feel like it would be a good idea to get rid of Jazz, but I think that they're gonna get rid of Charlie because it doesn't tie back to them. It's an easy kill. One less body. We're closer to the prize pot. Let's get rid of her. Who do y'all think that they are going to get rid of? Let me know down in the comments. So they decide, and of course, we're not going to find out until the next episode. But this episode was so freaking good. And Paul being banished was just epic. Paul, you definitely go down in history as one of the best traitors. Not only because of the way that he played the game as far as murdering people, but when you have your back against the wall at that round table multiple times and you come out of it, that's a badass traitor right there. That is a bad traitor. If you have seen the Traitors US season 2, Phaedra, her back was against the wall multiple times. So that's why we call Phaedra the queen, honey. Yes. I'm not gonna call Paul the king, but he's done a great job. Like, he really did. I like Paul, but it was time to go. As long as Harry's here, I'm good. Who is y'all favorite traitor? Do y'all have a new favorite traitor? Is it the same person since day one? Do you not have a favorite traitor? Are you voting for the faithfuls? Are you rooting for the faithfuls? Maybe you're rooting for the faithfuls. Who's your favorite faithful? But for me, it's Harry. I don't know why, but I always vote for the Traitors. I'm always rooting for the Traitors. Maybe because I'm just a bad girl, a bad girl. I can be your addiction if you wanna get hooked on me. I can be your addiction if you wanna. Maybe I'm just a bad girl. But y'all let me know down in the comments, y'all. That was the episode. I hope y'all enjoyed my review. Don't forget, before y'all get out of here, to smash that like button, hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I drop the rest of the episodes. I think this is this is 8, so is it 12? So it's 4 more. So I think we have 4 more episodes to go. And subscribe. And also, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, go back to the beginning and watch the beginning, the first you know, all the other videos of the Traitors that you haven't seen. Also, I reviewed Love is Blind. That is my very first show that I reviewed in season 6. So make sure you go and check that out. And as y'all know, I love to do my get ready with me videos because I love to get pretty. So check my get ready with me videos out, y'all. Support your girl. I appreciate everyone. I love each and every last one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for helping me to get where I am, growing this channel. I cannot do it without you. But until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.